And we're live. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I am Penny Douglas.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are here at our unnamed show that we do on Thursdays.
The Penney and Shawn.
The Penney and Shawn show on Thursdays. We're a little late tonight, but I did a million things today, and I was in the van a lot, and it was all good. It was fun. And I don't know what you did today. What did you do today?
Well, I mostly hung out with my brothers. I was doing my podcast editing over Tuesday and Wednesday. Monday I did my recording. Tuesday and Wednesday are editing days. So I got all my editing done between those 2 days. And today I was tired after all that, so I was like, all right, today I'm taking it easy. So I was hanging out with my brothers playing some Super Mario Smash Bros. So we were having some fun with that. And it's pretty much been more of a day of relaxation and just communing with family more than anything else.
Because I was running family around all over the place, and the guinea pig, poor guinea pig, having trouble eating, so I had to take Nugget to the vet. But that was our day today, and tonight we wanted to talk about heaven's priorities. Shawn had a bit of an encounter with the Lord this morning.
It was yesterday, actually, but
yesterday.
But it was an interesting experience. I'm going ahead and sharing that across my pages, sharing this videos across my pages. But so yesterday, as I was getting up, I was kind of coming off of the previous day being kind of a frustrating day. I had a rough night the night before, and you know, I had like at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not an early riser. I'm not an early person, but 6 o'clock, my mind was at that full consciousness state where your thoughts are running. You know, okay, I'm awake. I'm not sleeping anymore at this point. It's not happening. So I was like, all right, well, I'm getting up then. I'm going to go and get done whatever I can, and try to get this podcast done. And then so my laptop was running very slow. Very, very slow. Every time Windows 10 updates, it just gets even slower. It gets even worse than it was before.
Yay, I don't have Windows 10 anymore.
Yeah, thankfully she's got this new computer over here that has Windows 7, and it runs so fast, and it's so much better. But my laptop's on Windows 10, and it is so slow. It's horrible. And it was getting worse and worse. So I was up 6 o'clock in the morning trying to get my podcast edited, and took like 6 hours just to get the sound done, and that was horrible. Like, I didn't even get to the actual like editing. I didn't get to the actual cutting and pasting and sound effects and laying out, kind of like the structure. There's all the little sisters running around with packages and mail that they just brought in. But I didn't even get to the rest of the real work. By the time like the day was done, and I end up at 12 o'clock, like, okay, I'm exhausted now. So I go crash for 3 hours, make up for the fact that I had maybe a quarter of a night of sleep, and get up, and it's time to go get my mom's computer and take Morgan to work, I think it was. And then
it's been a busy week.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. And I get back home, and by the time I get back home, I was kind of drained. Like, I was just like, okay, I really, I got her computer set up, and after that, I was like, I'm not going to really get anything else done with this podcast, I can tell. So I was like, it's not going to happen. And so the next day, I'm kind of coming in from that, and, again, not having the greatest night's sleep. So I was just like, well, I'm like, well, first thing, I'm gonna get up, and of course I'm gonna go and I'm gonna meditate, and I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna spend time. I went into our closet. We have a big walk-in closet in the boys' room, so I go in there as the place where I can just be, where it's quiet and I can be to myself, and just spent some time, and as I was just kind of waiting there and meditating, for me, I pretty much expect that if I'm praying, I expect to make connection with God. I expect for something to happen, for there to be some kind of uplifting transfer of energy of life, some kind of word, something, you just feel the presence of God, something's going to go on. And so I was sitting in there, and I wasn't feeling anything. I wasn't feeling anything at all. I just felt like I was kind of stuck with my own thoughts and my own frustration, and I was just kind of mounting the frustration a little bit as I'm sitting in there and nothing's happening, and I'm waiting, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it.
Where are you?
Yeah. I was just like, I don't get it. I'm just like, I don't know, God. I don't know. Like, what the heck? You know, what's going on? You know, what's happening here? And as I you know, just kind of calm myself down and just continue to wait, I started to have this, you know, feeling like coming from myself that I just kind of like was dawning in realization, like, wow, this is what you deal with all the time. Like, you're waiting for us, you know, you're waiting and just, you're right there and you're just waiting for an encounter with us. You're waiting to spend some time with us and have a moment together, and we're just kind of ignoring you over our shoulder as we're doing all of our stuff throughout the day. And I was just like, wow, like, okay. So that just got kind of chasing myself a little bit. And I was like, well, okay then, well, you know, as if I'm doing you some kind of big favor. Yeah, convicting. Yeah, Olivia. Yeah, absolutely. It was very convicting, you know, and I've had this kind of experience. I had a similar experience before where, you know, well, just to get into that a little bit, I'll get off this rabbit trail and I'll come back really quick. I promise. I'll finish the story. But previous situation that I had, same prayer closet, same place. I was coming and I was just, you know, really coming. I was like, God, what, you know, what do you want to say to me? What do you want to say? What do you want to do? You know, what's the important thing? You know, what's burning on your heart? What do you have for me to do? And as I just sat and I was listening and I was waiting, this time what came was this, like, I just heard, like, very clearly, like, it came to me so clearly, like, in my own mind and my own spirit. It's like when your own mind is quiet and you know you're not thinking thoughts, things aren't racing, and it just comes to me, like, clearly in my mind, where it's just like the clearest words. I was like, what makes you think I need to say anything right now? What makes you think that I have to say something right now? Like, would it be okay if I just want to hang out with you right now? And I was just like, God just wants to hang out with me? I was like, whoa. I was like, dang, I'm sorry. You know, I forgot, you know, you're a person. You're not just there to give me orders or just answer my prayers or whatever. Yes, listening prayer is a wonderful thing. It's supposed to be a two-way conversation. Yeah. It's not supposed to be just. It's
definitely next level.
Yeah, and it's not just supposed to be, you know, God giving us orders and telling us what to do, or us telling him requests. You know, he just, like, sometimes he just wants to hang out. You know, he wants us to really be his friends. Like, that's not like some kind of thing where it's like just being poetic, like it's just being, you know, just. Well, it's kind of like being friends. No, God wants to really be your friend. He really does want to talk to you. He really does want to spend time with you and have a one-on-one communication with you, and, you know, and to go really back and forth, have that kind of deep connection.
I think so many people don't realize that God wants to talk to them and they can hear him.
Yeah.
And so it takes knowing that, first of all, before you'll even try and just open the channels and say, okay, God, I'm listening.
And I mean, really the biggest work of having a line of communication between yourself and God, having a conversation with God, is really just being able to quiet your own thoughts and being able to have the state of calm within yourself. You got to let go of your own expectations. God's his own person. I mean, he's going to show up when he wants to show up, and he's going to say what he wants to say.
When you first said that, I was like, God sure has a mind of his own.
Yeah, he does. He really does. God is not some kind of like AI or some kind of genie that just has to respond and do whatever we want. He's a person. And, you know, he really is more eager to speak to us than we are actually to listen, and we are to actually hear. Yeah. And, you know, he wants to connect with us even more than we want to connect with him. It says that he waits to be gracious to us. Mm-hmm. His tender mercies are new every morning. Mm-hmm. The reality is he's almost constantly.
How many thoughts does he have toward us?
Yeah, his thoughts to us are innumerable. They're mm-hmm. more countless than the sands of all the seas, of all the oceans, mm-hmm. and, you know, all the shores that there are.
So it's so hard to even begin to wrap your mind around.
He stores up our tears in a bottle. Everything that mm-hmm. there is about us, he is constantly aware. and his thoughts toward us are precious to him. They matter to him.
Yeah.
You know, just think about that. The very thoughts that he has about you are precious to him. But, you know, so for me, that was, that first time that I had that encounter, that was like, that broke me down. You know, I was just like, wow, like you want to really be just friends with me. You want to just hang out with me. You know, like that there doesn't have to be an objective. There doesn't have to be some kind of goal. There doesn't have to be some kind of a, you know, what are we going to do for your kingdom, or what am I going to do for you? Yes, Lord, you know, or whatever. Just be together. Like you just want to be together right now. And so this second experience, you know, kind of comes on the heels of that. You know, this is maybe 2 years later, year and a half later. I don't know how long. And I was just like, okay, you know what? Right now, I was just like, okay, my priorities right now, forget everything that I'm thinking about, what I need to do during the day and what I still need to get done and whatever I'm thinking is the high values, you know, because I have this book that I'm writing, you know, I have the podcast that I still need to finish editing in the day. And, you know, the book that I'm writing is really very important. You know, it's something that it's not just like some little thing that I'm going to do. It's like something that is kind of like been given to me as an assignment. Great reminder. Well, awesome. I'm glad it's speaking to you, Olivia. I'm so glad it's speaking to you, because that's something that's just like, you know, we were talking like, what are we gonna talk about tonight? And I was just like, well, you know, there is something that's kind of come up for me, you know, what happened yesterday. But you know, and so I was just like, God, okay, I'm setting aside what I think is important today. Like, even though you've given me this book to write, and this is something that I'm looking at, you know, this is legacy. This is something that all that I've learned and that I've been getting over the past, culmination of like the past 8 years of my life. And this is the wisdom that brought me out of so much bondage and so much pain and so much trouble and stuff that was just giving me, you know, I was just in a struggle of life, you know, dark night of the soul, identity, connection. What is life all about? How am I supposed to succeed in this world as it is? You know, kind of like that Michael W. Smith song, you know, my place in this world. And, you know, that's like the entirety of the struggle. Like, can a good man ever succeed, ever win in this world? You know, like so many questions, so many things that I was struggling over, and like, do I have to become the enemy in order to actually ever get anywhere in life? Like, do I have to become what I despise in order to ever, you know, move anywhere? You know, like in Tolkien terms, in terms of like the Lord of the Rings, like, do I have to become the new Dark Lord? Is that the only way to win?
Succumb to that pressure and conform to and you know, the system that's running things right now. The spirit of this world. You know, there's a lot in the Bible about the spirit of this world, and you know that there's always this battle between the spirit that is from God, of God's kingdom, and the spirit of this world and of what's of this age. And so, you know, that's my book is about that stuff. It's about heavy hitting stuff, about really powerful stuff. And it's kind of like the way I'm approaching and writing it is like, if I was going to die, like say I got cancer or something happened and I was going to die, this is the book I would want to leave behind. Like, here's legacy. Here's something that everything that I learned, everything that I got is right there. So it can be given, and it can be that wisdom, that progress I made can be distilled and can be given to someone else, can be given to others, so that they don't have to go as long as I had to go to figure these things out and get these things. And so it's, you know, it's a big deal in a lot of ways. To me, it's more than just like an extension of myself, like some information from Shawn, like some, you know, like my own poetry or my own stuff or whatever. To me, it's become almost like something that has life in and of itself apart from me, almost like a child. You know, like I'm helping to give birth to this. I'm helping to bring it into existence, but it's alive beyond me, and it's something that is more than me. So it's kind of like been the big thing that I've been focused on and I've been working on. But I was like, okay, setting aside everything that I think I need to do, even that, you know, setting everything aside. God, what are your priorities right now? What matters to you right now? What's the value for what's the chief value right now that's on your heart? And he just started talking to me about a friend of mine that he was just like, I love this person. I love this she's a girl. I love this girl. And I was like, okay.
I was like, you love this person. At first I was like kind of questioning myself, like, why would God be telling me that? Am I even hearing this right? And I'm like, okay, you love this person. Well, what do you want me to do about that? It's kind of like testing it out. And he's just like, I want you to tell her that I love her. And I was just like, okay, that's your priorities right now. That's what you want me to do, what you want me. All right, I'll go tell her right now that you love her, that you care about her. I was like, okay, I just knew in that moment. That's one of the things I've started to learn to do as I prayed, is learn when to just get up. Like, okay, this is the time, this is the moment, this is the thing you need to act on. Like, God has spoken to you, given you direction for your day, given you something that he wants you to do, and he wants to do with you. This, like, the important thing that I realized isn't just, okay, now it's time to go. It's to know when you're going with God, to know when he's walking and he's going, like, okay, I'm going with you right now. All right, let's go, let's do this. And it's the doing it together with him. So I get up and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna type this out. And like, I don't know what all is going to come, but I'm not worried about that. So I start typing up. It's like, hey, funny thing, I was sitting in my closet, and it also happened that she was actually having a hard time that day, and I didn't know that. I didn't see the message that she had sent me like an hour before my phone was dead, and like God was just wanting to show her that he really loved her, that he really cared about her personally, that she was on his heart right then. That she was enough of a priority that he was sending me to tell her, this is what I think of you. You're on my heart right now. And so I just took the time and I was just sharing that with her. And I just, started, of course it started coming, started flowing to me. And I was just saying, you matter to him, and, things that were just for her. And she opened up about what struggle that she was dealing with at the time, what was happening. And I was just like, as it was coming to me, it's just like, God loves you, and your answers and what you're dealing with right now is going to come from meeting God in this place of intimacy. It's going to come from the same thing that I just learned, that I just had highlighted to me right now. You got to let go of what you and everyone else thinks are the priorities of the situation, what everyone else thinks is the values and the important thing of the situation. Set that all aside and just connect with God, and he will clarify and he will light up for you what's on his heart, what's his priority, what's the value of the situation to him that really matters.
Yeah.
And I was just able to speak life to her and help her to come up out of that feeling. And I mean, it was just totally God, because it's not like I had like some big idea that's what I was going to try to do or what I was going to say. I had no idea that she was having a hard time or anything, but that's just what started coming to me. But I felt like I really got a lot. I learned a lot in that so many different things that just built this expanded vision of what matters to God. Because here I'm thinking, I'm frustrated. I'm like, I got to get this done. I got to get that done. Like, these things that I should have had done yesterday, I wanted to get this far ahead and it didn't even happen.
I'm sitting here giving you this time when I could be doing something, and where are you?
Yeah. And it's not like God rebuked me. It's like I rebuked myself. It's like I was just kind of like patiently, and I was just like, oh, like, oh, wait a minute. I'm acting like I'm doing you some kind of favor by sitting here and like, wait a minute. Like, you're the one that's always waiting on me, and I think I'm doing you a favor. Okay, hang on. All right, my mistake. And it was really cool to see. And what I realized was where I thought, and where I was getting, I tend to be project oriented. I tend to be goal oriented. I connect with people best in the context of, let's take care of these problems, or let's do this thing together or whatever. I have a harder time. Like, if you throw me in a party, I'm probably not going to really connect that much. I'll try. I'll go out and I'll try to find common ground. More likely than not, like intellectuals and people that are talking about philosophy and things like that, I'll start talking with them, But as far as just being the life of the party and being able to connect with everybody where they're at, that's not going to be me. If you give me something that we've got common ground, we've got a common project, we've got something we're working together on, then I'll be on that. I'll be all on board with that. But so for me, I lose sight sometimes of the value of the individual, and I'm looking at the bigger picture, and I'm looking at the strategy and the master plan and I'm looking at these things that I think are important, and like, well, this is legacy. You know, this book is legacy. This is things that are beyond myself and affecting, you know, who knows, millions maybe, and maybe more than that down the road, you know, with just the way that human lives, the way we touch and the way we affect each other. But in that moment and in that time, all the things that I was frustrated with, all the things I was concerned about that I thought were important, all of that stuff, that just faded away. That was not the thing that was important to God in that moment, that he wanted to convey through me, that he wanted to share. And as I just lined up with that, I was just like, wow, okay. And that really changed my whole perspective, because up to that point, like, I've kind of felt bad, honestly, about taking time, so much time with individuals and people that, you know, there's a decent number of people that kind of come to me that ask for advice and you know, kind of look to me for some kind of direction and helping them with prayer and things of that nature. And because of going through the time period where I was like, you know, what do I have to show for all of this? What do I have in my hands? You know, I'm not making any money from this. I'm not like building some kind of platform of esteem of a ministry. You know, nothing is that I can see visibly being built up by this. So where's the value in this? Like, I need to start kind of pulling back and not doing so much for other people, because this is just, you know, like getting in the way of like having a bigger impact, having a more massive impact or something. So it's like, I'm kind of like in this tension where it's like, on the inside, I'm still the same person. I want to do good for others, and I want to help, and I care, but on the other hand, I like feel guilty about caring too much and about spending too much time. And it's like God was just kind of like saying, no, right now, this one person is what matters to me. And it kind of like dawned on me, and I realized, so he really cares about every single one of these people. And when I'm spending this time and I'm helping them and I'm caring for them and I'm being there, that matters to him. And it's not something that just like, oh, well, great. You know, I mean, you help them, but what is there to show for it? No, he actually really cares. It really matters to him. Mm-hmm. And when it doesn't matter if anybody else sees it, it doesn't matter if no one else cares about them. It doesn't matter if anyone else looks at them and thinks, why would you help them? You know, like, what kind of big deal are they? You know,
or
what are they doing?
Or if anyone ever knows that what you did.
Yeah, you know, if nobody knows what I did, or they don't even remember what I did. You know, I don't get accolades. I don't get credit. I don't get a plaque. I don't get a big, you know, big memorial set up for the good deeds I've done. None of that matters. That's not what matters. What matters is that God sees, and he cares about each one of these lives. He cares about each one of these people that I take the time and to impact. And, you know, this isn't about how great I am or anything like that. I'm compelled. I care. And there's been a time in my life that I tried to shut off caring. There was a time in my life that I was like, what good is it doing me to care for these people? How is it helping me? Like, my life sucks. How is helping anybody else doing anything for me? And I tried going away from it for a little while, and I didn't like what I became, and I didn't like the way it was. And I was just like, no, this isn't going to work. Like, I can't do this. But I still kind of continued with that sense and that feeling of, well, I have to help them, and I don't know if it's going to do me any good in the long term. You know, it's like,
doesn't seem to be getting
I don't know if this is okay, but like, I've got to do it anyway. You know, like, it's just kind of in me to have to do this.
You're not going up the ladder of success, or
yeah.
It doesn't feel like you're really accumulating any material possessions
or anything, you know, like clout or, you know, career or reputation, some to gain some kind of platform of success. You know, it doesn't have to be like big reputation. It doesn't have to be fame and fortune and all of that. Just a platform of being able to bring more change and being able to have more impact and being able to have some stability myself, where I don't find myself like, well, I've helped all these people, but I have nothing.
Credibility.
Yeah, credibility, and, you know, just something to provide that balancing influence of, you know, we do good in the world, and we have to have some good come back to us.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, when I'm not getting anything back in return, so
where's the reaping? Where's the harvest?
That gets kind of scary. Mm-hmm. So that's, you know, kind of like where I was at. But like this experience just kind of reminded me and brought me back to this, like, yes, you know, there's things that we need to do. There's projects and things that are important and stuff that God gives us to do, you know, ministry wise, or the work that we do, or, you know, whatever it might be, you know, your family, taking care of your family, whatever it might be. But in the moment, there may be something, one thing that is to God very important in that moment, is to him the priority of the moment. And when you take the time and you do that, when you pay attention to that one, that really means a lot to him. That really is his heart. And even when it's the despicable one, when it's the one nobody else cares about, when it's the one that is left out and that everyone else is just like, whatever, and they've just kind of left to the margins of society, God is seeing them and thinking about them and caring about them and caring about their hurt and that they're disenfranchised and that nobody is there to speak to them. And he's looking for an intercessor. He's looking for a representative. He's looking for someone to speak for him, because their thoughts are in chaos and they're in all that pain and loneliness and all that stuff. And he's looking for someone to be a voice and say, come out of all that. Come out of all that and hear the voice of God. Hear how loved you are. Hear how valuable you are, no matter where you're at right now. You know, because it's not about deserving. It's not about earning. There's nothing you do to be loved by God like that. That's just who he is. And that's just what he wants to know. He wants you to know, wants to reveal of himself to you. So
many things you said reminded me of what Heidi Baker says. Stop for the one and compelled by love. You were compelled. When you stopped doing it and helping people, you didn't like what you became, and you always feel compelled to help whenever you hear that cry for help.
Yeah.
And it's just in you, and it's it's God in you.
Yeah.
That causes you just have to help and you speak what God gives you and what you have learned and what you know and what you've experienced. And it really does help the people who reach out to you, and it's big to God. It means a lot to God, and that's who we're here for. We're here for God.
Yeah, it is ministering to God's heart. It is really serving, and it's really coming close to God's heart and coming close in fellowship with him and closeness and intimacy with him. When you take that time out from all your grand vision, all of your goals, all of your ideas of what's really important, and you say, what's important to you right now, God? What matters to you right now? And when you do that thing, that just means so much to him. That matters so much to him. It's like you've done something that, even though in the moment it might not seem like a big deal to anyone else, you can just tell that there is this eternal impact, that there is something that, even though it's the one instead of the many, that there is something about that, the quality and about the impact and just the manifesting God in that kind of way, that it has a bigger and disproportionately large impact beyond what we can see, beyond what we can understand. And it's carrying the heart of God. It's carrying his priorities, what he treasures, what matters to him.
Yeah.
That's really what we should seek, and what we should, at the end of the day, be setting our eyes on a lot more. And honestly, that's a big part of my platform, is understanding to get outside of all these things that we think are important, outside of all the things that we're led to believe by our society, that these are the important things. You get these things and you do these things. And a huge part of my platform is being able to question that stuff, being able to decide for yourself what really matters. And ultimately,
people matter way more than projects.
Yes, people do matter most to God. They do. The individuals matter so much more. And it's like sometimes we can get lost in this whole idea, well, if everybody's special, then nobody is. But the reality is, every single person, you, whoever you are watching this right now, replay or right now live, you are personally special. You personally matter to God. He is thinking about you, not because he's obligated to, not because, well, he's God, and he has to love you. No, he chooses you. He chooses you right now, someone that he's waiting on. That even as you're hurting in life and as things are going on and it all seems like a whirlwind, there's all this stuff that's happening. Maybe you've got confusion. Maybe you've got woundedness. Maybe you've got all this stuff that's happened that you can't make sense out of, darkness. Maybe it's just so much going on all the time and you just can't get a moment. But he's always there, just delighting in you and just waiting for a chance, for an opportunity to speak together with you. And he's not expecting something like you owe him anything. He's not coming at you like, whoa, if you need to do this already, I've done all this for you. It's not anything like that. He's just loving you and just wanting the chance to connect with you.
Changes or anything like that.
Yeah, God's not codependent. He's not desperate, but he just wants so much to connect with you. And even when you're not, he's thinking about what a good person you are. He's thinking about all that stuff that he sees that you do that's good. And all the potential that's there. And even when you're having a horrible day and like, oh, I shouldn't have done this and I shouldn't have done that and I feel bad about this, I feel bad about that. He's thinking about how the quality of character you had. You could have went that far, but instead you did this. And you could have done that, but instead you did this. And he's thinking constantly to the credit to how the goodness in you is warring against the intentions of evil, from the pain and from fear and from everything else you're going through. That's just how he's seeing you. He's always rooting for you and wanting to be there with you through it all. And even when you're just, not really giving him permission to, not really paying attention, he's still there for you. He's still there rooting for you and on your side, even when you're not hearing him. And that's just what he's like.
Yes.
And that's when you get that really is humbling, and it's really just, it draws you to him. Like, how can it not? Somebody that just cares that much about you. You have to. You have to be drawn to that.
The gospel really is good news. It's not a bunch of do's and don'ts and commandments and you have to change everything. And that's not what the gospel is about. It's about he loves you, and he showed it. I mean, here we are on the Thursday before Good Friday when we remember how Jesus died on the cross. And why did he go through all that? For you, for me, for Shawn, for his people. He loves us, and the extremes that he went to show how much he loves us. Anything else that happens in life that we might think, well, where were you when that happened? Just look at the cross and see where he was when that happened and why he did that. And that lets you know that no matter what else happens in life, he already proved his love in the ultimate way. And so I think that's a good way to tie this up for our Thursday before Easter broadcast. And we thank you for coming on, Olivia. It was good seeing you, and thank you for commenting and the hearts.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the interaction.
Yes, and any replay viewers, thank you for watching. We will be back next Thursday, and we just really encourage you to ask the Lord what he thinks about you, how he feels about you, and let him reveal just how much love he has for you, how crazy he is about you. And we just encourage you, especially this Easter time, to think about what Jesus went through in the scourging and everything that he took, and then the dying on the cross and the humiliation. And he took it all for us. He not only paid the debt of our sin, but took away the power of sin over us, and then just all that he gave, our salvation, our healing, our deliverance, all of that came with what he did on the cross. So be thinking about those things this weekend, and just have a blessed holiday with your families. And we love you, and we'll see you next Thursday.